Welcome, Flavor Crew. Today we are going to make one of our favorite side dishes to bring to any occasion.
This side dish has kind of an odd story to it. One time my mother brought it to a family get-together on Thanksgiving, Christmas, something like that. And we really liked it, got the recipe, and we've made it ever since. But she never brought it again to another family gathering, even though it was a hit. And we started bringing it, and she says, "Where'd you get that recipe? That's great." So she didn't even remember it, but everyone loves this recipe.
It's a corn salad. Now, I know corn salad, it sounds extremely weird. The flavor is so amazing. And actually, Brad just suggested it to a friend who took it to a Thanksgiving party, and it was a huge hit.
And he cut his a little bit differently, and we'll show you a picture of his too, because his looks fantastic.
So let me kind of give you an idea of what the directions are and what the ingredients are.
Yeah, I'll get out of your way.
All right, great. So the one thing about this recipe that's really, really cool is you can easily make a lot of it or a little bit of it. We had a full recipe. Brad will share that in the description, the full recipe. It's so simple to whittle it down. Since there's just two of us, I'm gonna make the whittled down version. And that takes 1 can of white corn. Normally we use a corn called a Shoepeg corn. It's really hard to find these days. If I'm really lucky, hold on, my kitty is attached to me. All right, Charming, go play with Daddy. Okay, it's all right. Okay, so the Shoepeg corn, it's so hard to find. So if you're lucky enough to find it, grab it. If not, just make sure you get a white corn. The yellow corn doesn't seem to come out the same. The flavor's a little different, so we prefer the white corn. So 1 can of corn, and then everything else, except for the dressing, is 1/3 cup. So you need 1/3 cup of green olives. You need 1/3 cup of a bell pepper. If you want a red bell pepper, orange, a yellow, whatever bell pepper you want. We normally use green, but it is pretty if you use a different color. It'll be a little sweeter with the other ones because the flavor is a little sweeter, I think. And then 1/3 cup of green onions. And like I said, the full version, it's so easy, and Brad will link that in the description. Okay, so first off, what I normally do is cut up all my 1/3 cup stuff, and let's start with the green onions. Now, I did already rinse off the bell pepper. I did not rinse off these green onions. So what I'm gonna do is cut off the tops and a little bit of the greens, and I'll go rinse them off and come back. Now, it's funny, I see a lot of people totally cutting off the whole whites of the onion, and I like that. So I'm not gonna do that. I am gonna take a little bit off, but not the whole thing. And then when it comes to the greens, if you get a part that's a little wilted, you can cut that off after, but I'll just cut about that much off. I'm gonna go rinse these off real quick. Okay, so one of the things I did when I rinsed them off is I took the first little layer of the onion off. I left one on so you could see what I did. I just pulled that part off so it was a little cleaner. But that's it. So I normally start with thin little circles, or cut with thin little circles. But if you like it a little chunkier, you know, do what you enjoy. So this was with a whole bunch of onions. My guess is that should be right around 1/3 cup. We'll see when I get there. If it's a little less, I have another bunch in the fridge. I'll go get one. If it's a little over, depending on how much over, I might just put it in. You don't have to be super exact. Let's do the bell pepper. I know for sure that is way more than 1/3 cup. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off, I don't even know what you would call it, but I'm gonna make it into a 1/4 because I think a fourth of this bell pepper is going to be really close to a third of a cup. All right, normally what I do is I peel a little bit of that white off, and then I make sure I don't have any of the seeds in there. I like to cut my bell pepper where I take the tops off and then deal with the other part later. But I'm gonna cut this into little dices. Now, if you like I said, if you like it chunkier, you can make chunkier pieces. I like them thinner. I think it seems to blend better when you taste it. You don't get, oh, this is just bell pepper or this is just green onion. It really blends well. Be careful not to cut your fingers. Okay, normally what I do is I'll check to see about where I'm at. And if I'm gonna need more, I'm definitely gonna use those ends. And I think it's gonna end up being perfect. Okay, I know the end parts are a little weird to cut because they're not straight. But just kind of take your time, be careful not to, like I said, cut yourself. And then just try to make them diced about the same as the other ones. If you want them smaller, you can do them smaller. Yep, that's going to be perfect. I'm going to use the last of this little one because, like I said, if it's a little over, not a big deal. Boy, it already smells good. Bell peppers smell so nice. And the green onions. All right, put that in there. The next is the green olives. Now, you can do this two different ways, actually. You can cut them all up. Oh, I might have to have Bradley come and open that. Oh, nope, I got it. You can just take them out and before you slice them, for the measurement, just put them in the third of a cup to begin with. And then normally what I do, if I do it this way, is I'll add like 3 more olives because it does actually shrink down when they're cut. Okay, that's the third, and we're gonna take out a few extras. All right, so this is what we're cutting. Now when I do green olives, I don't know if it's just because I'm trying to be pretty, but I like to cut them also like I did the green onions and have them be in like little circles. So you really need to be careful when you do this, and it's a little tedious. It's like about 4 cuts an olive. I'm trying to make them be like thin little little pieces, but I think it's pretty that way. So is there a side dish that you enjoy making during the holidays? Something you kind of always lean towards? If so, put that down in the comments and share that with me. Maybe I'll give it a try. Or maybe it'll inspire someone else and they'll give it a try. So now let's open that can of corn. It doesn't matter what brand. Just try to get the white. And you definitely want this juice out. I'm just gonna bring up the container that I put the scraps in of the onions. Just dump all that out. If you push a little bit, it'll squeeze out a little more, which is great. All right. Dump in the corn. So the next thing that you want is a fully mixed Good Seasons Italian dressing. So if we were making the full size recipe on this, you'd use the whole entire thing. But because I'm making a third of the full-size recipe, I'm only going to use a third of this, but Brad's already used some of it on salad last night. So I'm just going to kind of eye it. But first I am going to mix this up. Yeah, you want to stir it up, kind of get it evenly mixed. It's so pretty. The colors are so pretty. And once you get that Italian dressing in here, the smell is so amazing. Now, if you're gonna take this to an event, if you make it the night before, all the flavors will kind of meld together, and I think it's better the second day, but it's still fantastic the first day. Don't get me wrong. So if you're in a hurry and you want something, just make it up and take it with you. But the next day you're gonna be like, wow, that is amazing. Okay, just want to show you how colorful that is. Like I said, it's a third of the recipe, but Brad used some of it, so I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. Now, what you wanna make sure is to not get tons of liquid in there, but I'm just gonna kind of spread it over there, look at it, mix it up, and make sure it's not super wet. We just kind of want it to coat the ingredients. Oh, it smells so good. And like I said, make sure you shake this or you're gonna have a bunch of oil and nothing else. Just a little more. That looks perfect. Mix it up again. Oh gosh, I wish you could smell this. It is so, so good. Now for us, this amount will last us probably 2 good meals, maybe 3 as a side. So that's it. It's all mixed and you can cover it and put it in the fridge. And well, it doesn't normally last too long in our house. So how long will it last in the fridge? I don't know for sure. But I'd say the longest that I can think of that we've had it in the fridge is 5 days. And it still tastes fantastic. And give it a try.
Okay, this is looking good. Let's give this a taste. Did you guys see this? If we did the full recipe, it would fill the thing better, right? So you'd be able to see it a little better, but let's give this a taste. Always good. Better the next day, but always good.
I can't even explain the wonderful flavors in this.
Yeah. So, Vern's my Facebook friend who. So
yes.
His looks great. Take a look at his down in that picture. Look at that. Doesn't that look great? So it's just I'm showing you his to show you that we like to cut ours small. When I gave him the recipe, I didn't say chop everything small. I just said chop everything. So that's what he did. And you know what? It looks great. It was a big hit, and we might try it that way sometime because you get a difference, like the bell pepper piece is bigger, you get more bell pepper. It just changes kind of the overall structure. But we really like this. If you're doing a family gathering, do the full recipe. A cup of everything instead of a third. A cup of everything. 3 cans of corn. And the full dressing. For just a few people, this is
perfect.
Good. So I hope you enjoy it, or I hope you at least try it. Let us know in the comments if you're going to try it. And then after that, go back in the comments and let us know what you thought. We think it's great.
So why don't you take the time and subscribe? And welcome to the Flavor Crew.